Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to Real Estate America's newsroom. It is April 21st in the year of our Lord 2022. We have some amazing guests that we're going to introduce you guys to today, and some returning guests. But one of my favorites, Miss Rhonda Scher, is here. I love this picture of her. Hopefully, Rhonda likes it as well. But we're going to be talking about some LinkedIn things today, guys. So, opening notes for today's show. If I could show you a way to save thousands of extra dollars on items that you're going to purchase anyway this year, would you thank me for it? We're going to find out. We're talking with Randy Nemiroff, co-founder and principal for Perk Plans, Benefits and Incentives, which is one of the largest employee benefit portals in the United States of America, used by companies as large as Lockheed Martin. Did you know you could become your own bank? We're going to talk about tax-free asset protection and becoming your own bank in real estate with Mr. Tim Parnell. Are you missing valuable conversations with your connections? Ms. Rhonda Scher, the LinkedIn diva, teaches us how to generate conversations that you're already connected to and how to leverage that into possible good transactions. So, quick question. Do you feel that homes in the United States of America are affordable, ladies and gentlemen? Do you feel that they're affordable? Well, Elon Musk says otherwise and gets into building homes. Some of you might have heard about it. Tesla houses for sustainable living starting at only $15,000 are coming to possibly a market near you. So we're gonna roundtable that. And last show, some of you remembered us talking about how homeowners associations across the United States of America are doing their darndest to get in and possibly hedge investors from purchasing some properties. Well, the city of Cincinnati is now hedging some of these investors. They moved out and actually just purchased 200 homes to stop the investors from purchasing and overinflating their real estate market. So we're going to roundtable that with all of the gentlemen. But before we get started, as always, we need to go ahead and bring in my esteemed co-host, Mr. Nick Sakis. Hello, Nicholas.
How we doing, Sarge?
I'm well. I've been really into the news here lately, obviously, with producing Real Estate America News, and I'm starting to see a whole bunch of things out there that are very interesting. We're going to talk about today.
Becoming your own bank. I can't wait to talk to Tim about that. And then Elon Musk, like, what is that guy not into? Right?
He's just all over the news all the time. So
yeah.
You know, there's got to be something to it. But I do like his style. If anybody can go ahead and help the Americans with saving money, lowering their carbon footprint, and also becoming more sustainable, what's wrong with that?
Nothing wrong with that. Buying Twitter, 280 characters and 280 square feet of living, right? Not the same.
Yeah. Did you hear about this Cincinnati now getting into the market? I was shocked to go ahead and see that report.
Yeah, that was pretty wild. I mean, it makes sense, right? And they were talking about how many out-of-state investors are overbidding. It's the same kind of thing that's happening in Florida. I'm happy to see that the Port Authority is stepping up there and protecting their community. I mean, that's a really cool thing, right?
Yeah. You know, with inflation, the way that it is right now, and all of these things that we're all paying for it. Regardless, whether you like it or not, we're paying for it. We're tapping into our reserves, and we're extra food prices, extra fuel gas costs, and everything else. We're really rethinking how we live and operate in this country. So I'm really excited. We've got Randy Nemiroff here from Perk Plans, and we're going to show each and every single one of you guys how you can save thousands and thousands of additional dollars on the items that you're already purchasing.
Yep.
So
not a scam. It sounds like a scam, but it's actually real, right?
Yeah, it's actually real. We've got companies as large as Lockheed Martin are actually using this program for benefits for all of their employees, over 10,000 human resources departments across the United States of America, NFL alumni associations, and also Freedom Move USA just went ahead and got approved to be inside of Perk Plans. It has reached to over 25 million American citizens that are benefiting, but we're going to show each and every single one of you viewers here how you can benefit as well. So we're going to go ahead and talk with Mr. Randy Nemiroff. So has Tampa cooled down at all?
No, Come on, man. Absolutely not. I mean, our port authority isn't buying 200 houses, but yeah, the investors have not slowed down over here whatsoever, and it's about as hot as it's ever been. The last analogy that I brought up was like the Super Bowl. Like Florida is the Super Bowl, right? Everybody wants a ticket. Everybody wants to be here. So it's made for interesting, specifically in Pinellas County where I live. You drive down the street and probably 25% or more of the license plates are out of town, right? Like,
Yeah.
pick a car, Missouri, I mean, even as far as Canada, I've seen license plates. So yeah, it's pretty unbelievable what's going on here.
Do you think you're missing relationships on LinkedIn? Like, is there something you think that you can do better with people
Always
that you're already connected to?
can always improve, right?
Yeah. Room for
Especially so,
improvement?
like there's always room for improvement. And at the end of the day, you only have so much bandwidth, right? So unless, and this is why, like, coming to me as a marketer, coming to Clever, doing all the things because we are experts in certain fields, you do sometimes need an expert to let you know that, like, that's their sole focus and that's what they do. So it's always good to communicate with someone like Rhonda, who, like, that's their lane. If you're not in LinkedIn and you're not living and breathing it every single day, it's really hard to keep up because there's so many social media platforms. But I know she's going to come in and drop some knowledge bombs, but LinkedIn is super powerful for any of the real estate agents listening from a referral standpoint, business to business. If you're not doing anything there, you're probably leaving some money on the table.
Well, good. Looks like everybody on this show is going to try to do their darndest to help us save some money and get us educated and advance our position here a little bit. So why don't we just roll right into it? What do you say, Nick? Should we bring in Mr. Randy Nemiroff?
Let's go.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, take out your pencil and paper. Mr. Randy, how are you today, sir?
I'm well. How are you?
I'm great. If somebody ever came to me and said, hey, would you like to save thousands of extra dollars that I could go ahead and put into my reserves on things that I purchase anyway, and then I can maybe offset some of the inflation and all of the extra costs, I think it's wonderful. Break it down for us. Tell us a little bit about Perk plans and some of the companies that you're working with, and how people can go ahead and save some money on their standard purchases.
Sure, that would be great. I'm glad that we're working with Freedom USA, Freedom Movers. That's a great addition to our platform. But yeah. Perk Plan started for me really back in 2005. I was kind of new to the mortgage industry, and I wanted to find a way of creating mortgage leads. So I decided I wanted to work with companies, unions, associations, nonprofits, and have them promote me to every single one of their employees or their members, even their clients. And I guess I got very lucky because the first organization I ever brought on was the union for Lockheed Martin. And then I started working with doing a mortgage for the head of the legal department at Toys R Us. Told them what I was doing for Lockheed. I said, why don't you bring it in here? We have 10,000 employees. Well, making a long story short, over the years, the platform started to evolve from building out a whole real estate portal with mortgages, title, moving companies, credit repair, anything that you can think of having to do with buying or owning a home. It moved into discounts on travel, health and wellness, entertainment, tickets to sporting events and concerts, health and wellness. We're even building an entire resource section for addiction. And since we relaunched a new platform about 4 years ago, we've added millions of members across the country. We've got real estate agents, individual realtors, and entire brokerages using it throughout the entire country. And we've created an incredible partnership with Annie Mac Mortgage. So we're utilizing their 500 loan officers around the country to basically introduce me to companies and unions and associations everywhere.
That's fantastic. That's fantastic. So Nick, Clever Leads is now working with Perk Plans to go ahead and help real estate agents and actually build in this incentive portal into their websites so that then they can go ahead and offer all of these amazing things back out to the marketplace. And so there's benefits like travel and 50% off on car rentals and you name it, or you're going to chewy.com to go ahead and purchase things that you are already purchasing for your pets and getting incentives, and just amazing companies. Even Amazon is in there, Nick. So how do you think real estate agents could use this portal as an incentive and create talking points and get it out to the marketplace and help even some of their prospective customers or citizens.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about this yesterday on the Real Estate Uncensored Marketing Roundtable about not just telling people that you love referrals, right? Like, what value do you bring to the consumer? How do you stay top of mind with them? And how do you make a phone call to somebody you haven't talked to in 5, 6, 8, 10 years not feel as heavy? Because really the only reason you're calling them is to see if they want to sell their house again, right? So if you take back the real estate aspect of being an agent and only contacting people when they need to buy or sell, instead providing them true value with something like perk plans where they can save every single day, where your face, your brand can be on the forefront of their minds every time they log in. You're providing value, they're getting something out of it, you're staying top of mind. It's kind of a win-win for everybody. So I guarantee that, you'll be one of the few people in your market. So again, you have a competitive advantage. You have a unique ability to stay in front of people. And as a real estate agent, that's all this is. It's communication with your database. So this is an excellent resource.
Randy, this thing has really evolved from where you first initially thought it would be. Now you have like over 10,000 human resources departments putting it in front of all of their folks and NFL alumni associations. And tell us about even one of this new organizations that are going to be feeding educational resources to all of these colleges across the U.S.
Yeah, well, the nice thing about this platform is this is the only national employee perk platform that's built through the real estate industry. And what we've done is we found a way to make loan officers and real estate agents basically stand out from the crowd, to be able to offer something that nobody else can offer. Because that's the one thing in our industry. Right now our industry's going through a major change again. We either have highs or lows. Business is either great or it's not so good. And right now, with interest rates going up and inventory being way down, real estate agents are now, and same as loan officers, are looking for additional ways to generate that additional business. And what better way to become the exclusive realtor or loan officer for an entire organization that may have 10 employees or even over 1 million? We have companies that our largest member right now that we have, we're working with, has 1.5 million members. Our smallest one is just an individual agent, and then a lot in between. We work with organizations like the NFL Alumni Association and the Lacrosse Association. We have an educational partner that is bringing in 16,000 veteran groups, along with colleges all over the country. We've got automobile dealers and any type of organization that wants to offer discounts and perks to their employees, members, or even clients can bring in a customized platform where we allow them to pick and choose the perks they want, build in any perks that they may want to, because each platform is built individually for that particular client. And it's all built within 24 hours. Once they pick and choose the perks, we give it to them. And then the other cool thing about it is they don't come to Perk Plans to access the perks. They go to their own company's website or intranet in order to access them. It's completely customized and white label right for them.
That's fantastic. Nick, we talk about in the real estate industry how people struggle sometimes to go ahead and create content. What are your thoughts regarding all of these different benefits sitting inside of Perk Plans and how you can create some different micro content to share out to your community?
Yeah, as a marketing manager, the number one thing that I hear from clients when I talk to them is I don't know what to talk about. Right. So having something like this in your back pocket to be able to pick and choose and say, hey, these are some things that are truly valuable from me that I can offer you. It just gives you a leg up. Now, Randy just talked about the highs and the lows and how the industry is changing. I think the industry is changing in a way where, and I don't want to pigeonhole anybody to this product or thinking about this product, so don't take it this way. But if you are an average agent, right, we're still like 55-year-old female, I believe last time I checked, is the average real estate agent. If you feel in your heart that you are losing deals because you are not an internet superstar, you're not a social media rock star, you're not on Instagram and TikTok and YouTube and doing all the things that the younger kids are doing to get deals, and you're looking for an advantage that maybe they will not have, something like this would be right in your wheelhouse, where yes, you can use it for social media if you want to, have something to talk about, use it for video marketing, but it could be the key pillar for you to stay in touch with people. And at the end of the day, that's one of the best businesses you can have. If you're not looking to totally scale 30, 50, 80, $100 million teams, and you just want a really good production, 10 to $20 million as an individual agent with maybe some assistance, your core database is what you should be focusing on. And something like this is the only tool in your toolbox that you really need.
Yeah, one of the key questions I ask all our realtor partners is, right now, how do you communicate with your database? And their first question is, well, right now we probably don't. We have no way of doing it. Well, what better way to offer them something that can save them money on a lot of things that they're already buying, including when they want to travel or health and wellness products and services that have absolutely nothing to do with real estate. And knowing that person in their database has to come back to their website in order to access the perks.
Yeah.
It's the key. Still it's saying out of sight, out of mind. Here's a great way for you to be right in front of your clients every single month and not even try and sell them anything having to do with real estate.
Yep.
But when they do need it, you're right there for them.
If all you did was once a week, pick one perk that you can email your database and say, hey, here's the newest perk of the week or the most recommended thing that you could purchase through our plan. Did you know this? And you're just there. You're just in front constantly over and over and over again. And that would be something that would be so easy to do. It would take less than an hour, probably a month to even put that together.
Exactly.
One of the incentives
all over the country doing that.
One of the incentives for all of the Freedom Move USA agents and the Clever agents is through the perk plans that we're offering, they can go ahead and get free continued education, which is fantastic. And I love the whole marketplace. I mean, he's got companies as large as Pods, and Freedom Move USA is obviously in there right now. And it's amazing to go ahead and have a portal in partnership with Perk Plans and all the rest of these amazing folks across the United States of America. So, Randy, if a real estate agent wants to have their own Perk Plan portal built into their website, talk about what Clever Leads is doing with Perk Plans to build them a website fast with a whole back-end platform and all of this stuff there, making it easy.
Yeah, I'm learning more about that myself every single day from you. But, the idea is that, a lot of agents out there have websites that were given to them by their real estate company. Well, what happens when a real estate agent leaves that particular company? They can't take it with them.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, talking with you, you've created a way of being able to build a very affordable website for individual realtors and then be able to tie in their database to be able to market to them. It's an incredible feature, a value add that we can also give to our real estate agent partners. We're always looking for things like that can make that particular agent stand out from the crowd and just do more for their client.
Fantastic. Mr. Randy, we appreciate you coming in and talking to us about Perk Plans. We're going to move into our next segment, but we'd love to have you back at some point in the future, and have a blessed rest of your week, sir. We appreciate you.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks, buddy.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, did you know that you possibly could be your own bank? And would you like to know about some maybe tax-free asset protection methodologies? There's a lot of things that we have been taught in our life. Maybe we've worked for somebody else. We have a W-2 job. Maybe we're contributing to a 401k, or maybe even just a term life insurance policy. But our education then mainly stops in the United States of America unless we really deep dive or find some people that have done it, got into the trenches. But today we're going to go ahead and visit with Mr. Tim Parnell. We're going to talk about some theory on how you can maybe use some of the equitable position in your home. Maybe you have some equity or cash that's sitting around, things that you should be thinking about. And did you know that you could go ahead and be your own bank? So let's get right into it with Mr. Tim Parnell. Hello, Tim. Nice to see you. I think you're on mute here. There we go.
There we are. Sorry about that.
Yeah.
All right. No, Jake, it's always good to be here. I appreciate it. I appreciate the opportunity to, do what I can to enlighten on this particular topic. So, yes, it is true that we have kind of a pigeonholed education on how money works. We believe in the 401k. We believe in the Roth, the IRAs, things like that. And that's kind of where it ends, like you said. And there's a lot of people right now that they're asking one of two questions. They're going, well, is my 401k going to survive whatever's coming? Or the one that I think is more pertinent for the show is my home. I've got a ton of equity, and people are sitting on a fat amount of equity right now. And the reason they're not cashing it in, whether they're taking a loan against it or they're thinking about selling the house, and they go, well, where am I going to live? I can't buy another house in this market and be less than what I got this one for, but they're still sitting on a massive amount of equity. And so what I have is just a solution, not the solution, but a solution that I think can help enlighten people on what the possibilities are. And so if it's okay with you, I've got a visual here. I've got some delicious sweet Texas tea.
Absolutely.
I'm going to use.
Absolutely.
All right. Okay. So what I want you to think about is this right here. This mason jar of sweet Texas tea is going to be the equity in your house. If you've owned your home in the last, for let's say 3 to 7 years at this point, you're probably sitting on a good fat amount of equity. And maybe you're thinking, gosh, if this market turns down, am I going to lose some of my equity I've built up? And well, what are my options? And so I'm going to give you an example of what an option looks like for how we educate people. So over here, I've got a big old mason jar that's mostly empty. And in the bottom of it is your kind of cash position that most of us are in. We're house rich, cash poor, things like that. So what if the scenario was that you took the tea, your liquid equity that isn't liquid, because let's see, the return on investment on your equity is zero. There is no return on equity. But if we took this equity and we poured it over into your cash bucket, and let's say that's because you sold your home and you went and rented. Now the question is, can you put this to work and do something far greater than it's continuing to set in your house, and may or may not gain more equity over time because we see the writing on the wall? So where we come in is we have products that you can put your equity into that you've turned into cash, and we can put them into products that compound annually. All right. And when you take it out as many times as you want to take out, as long as there's cash, it's tax free. Okay. And it continues to compound annually. And if you want to take it out and do an investment, it's tax free. Okay. And oh, by the way, when everyone else loses their equity because their homes dive in value, or if in the beginning, let's say this was a 401k account and you poured it over into here and we put it into a separate bucket for you, when everyone else loses in the market, you either gain, but you never lose what your last gain was. Okay. So here's the cool part. All right. Here's the cool part. If I do this for a period of time and I'm waiting for the market to adjust, let's say, and I go back and say, I had this one house that I bought, but I've been over here building up my position, my portfolio, and this was my original house. It could be that not for much more money, I can go buy a new, sleeker, more modern, awesome home for, a little bit of what I gained and still continue to compound, access tax-free, and have my cake and eat it too. Or I can go buy a bunch of little homes and increase my position that way. So that right there is my super quick version of how this works.
I'm getting thirsty for Texas tea.
Ooh.
That looked really good. That looked really good.
I love it.
So that was slightly confusing for some people, but that's okay. Mr. Tim knows what the heck he's talking about. Well, the nice thing here is there are smarter ways to do things with your money and equity instead of just stuffing it in the bank, making it work for you, becoming your own bank, having the ability to have tax-free advantages and use your money and make it expand and compound interest and things like that. So the folks that are listening right now, if you're not planning on selling, if you're not planning on buying, you might be sitting in a large position with equity inside of your home. And there are smarter ways to go ahead and utilize that position to get you further down the road and protect your assets and become the own bank. Is that what I'm hearing? Right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I mean, there's no time like the present. There's a lot of people who are well up on their money. They're up on their stock portfolio as well, but they're all asking the same question. What do I do? How do I protect this? How can I keep the majority of my earnings here? And but most people aren't making a move because they don't know where to go. And so what I love about what we do is that's our number one mission, is to educate. It's financial liberation through education. That is what we do. And we're happy to do it. And so it does, if you're, and so here's my thing, Jake, as a realtor, you are uniquely positioned that you are talking to people at either one of the largest transactions of their life most of the time. And I've spoken directly with people who say, I've got to sell because of this scenario or this financial situation. Well, I can now better serve these people because I can refer them to someone within the team, right? They can now handle some other aspect of what we can help them do with that equity that they never knew was an option, because all they were going to do is go put it in the bank, and it's going to lose its value against inflation. And so we can position it somewhere else that's correct for that individual, because there is no one size fits all to what we do. We find out what you need and what your goals are, and we tailor it to that.
I met your whole team. You and your wife are doing this, and I met some of the business partners within the wealth organization. And it's amazing what Mr. Parnell is doing, ladies and gentlemen. I highly urge you to get in touch with him. If you're a real estate professional, you should be getting in touch with Mr. Tim Parnell. He's got some amazing things that can really go ahead and help you out.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Tim, thanks for sharing that information with us. I think it's smart to become your own bank and do.
I will tell you this, for anybody that does want to get a hold of me, you can email me at patriotwealthnation@protonmail.com. We use Proton because it is encrypted. We just make sure, because of sensitive information, we just want to have the highest encryption available. So patriotwealthnation@protonmail.com.
Outstanding. Thank you, Mr. Parnell. Nick, I want to get into this conversation about LinkedIn with Miss Rhonda Scher and really burn it down. She's always educating and teaching us on amazing things. What do you say? Should we bring her in?
I learn something new every time we talk to her, so I'm excited. Yeah.
Amazing. Hello, Miss Rhonda Scher. How are you, ma'am?
I am wonderful, Jake. Nice to see you as well, Nick. And I learned a lot this morning from listening to your guests. Amazing.
Good. Well, that's fantastic. Rhonda, so you and I were talking, and you said, you know what? There's so many people that are just missing out on opportunities in business with the relationships that we already have on this platform called LinkedIn. And you teach businesses and individuals unique ways to go ahead and stay connected and engaged with those folks, right?
I do. Yeah.
Bring it home for us. Tell us a little bit about it.
So what I'd like to do is actually tie it in to what you were talking about this morning with Plan Perks, because it's absolutely awesome. Imagine almost everybody has at least 500 connections on LinkedIn. And the truth is that most of us don't know our connections. What if you reached out to your first level connections? If you're a real estate agent, for example, and you're reaching out to that mortgage person, to that CPA, to that attorney, to those referral partners, and you basically just say to them, hey, we've been connected for a while on LinkedIn, never had a conversation. It would be great to jump on a call and just learn more about how we can support one another. I promise this is not a sales call. Here's a link to my calendar. Now, here's the thing that you can put, a PS. By the way, I have some amazing perks that you can share with your network. If you're interested, I'd love to share the platform with you and give them the link. And if you do it as a PS, guess what? Everybody reads that first. So now they'll book time on your calendar, and you have an opportunity to get to know them in a way that you normally wouldn't.
Nick, people throughout the years, they get onto these platforms and they're just so focused on how many followers do I have or connections do I have, and they're just looking at a number, and then they have random people that are coming in that they just never engage with. What's your take on this?
Yeah, I think as social media has evolved, we kind of understand it was the rat race of how do I get as many people in my world as possible, but now especially for us in the service-based industry, like real estate agents and mortgage brokers, you are far better off to have 1,000 people that are really engaged with what you're doing, um, on even a monthly basis, right? Than you are to have 100,000 followers that barely see your content, right? And you have no idea who they are, like Rhonda said. You have no idea what they even do. And so, one thing that I talk about a lot with with my clients is, you probably can't think, if you have 500 friends, you probably can't think off the top of your head what 10 of them do for a living, like, honestly. So if you're one of those people who you expect everybody who follows you to refer you real estate and you to be top of mind to them, but you haven't talked to them in the same way, you have no idea what they do for a living. How are you supposed to refer them? And then also, how are you supposed to get mad when they don't refer you if you don't have that connection? So I'm 100% behind, more of a personalized connection, more of creating value, and not just the vanity number of how many likes and shares that you get, but how can you create a network, a real network? And I do think LinkedIn is great for that, right? It's not just a social media; it's your network, it's your referral, it's your, internet-based BNI, if you will, right?
That's a great description. And, think about it. If you have through Clever Leads and you have Plan Perks as a real estate agent on your website, now you can reach out to all of your past clients. Because remember, out of sight is out of mind, right? Most people can't even remember the name of the last real estate agent they worked with. And you reached out to these people and said, hey, I just wanted to touch base with you on LinkedIn. And by the way, if you haven't visited my website lately, I know that inflation is hurting all of us. So check it out, because we've got discounts there for you for your next car rental, for whatever it is that you have, and maybe just point something out. So instead of trying to sell them, you're basically saying, hey, I'd love to reconnect. And who doesn't want a gift? So go to the website, and I don't know if you can do this, Jake, but what would be very cool is have something that gets them to opt in. So now you can continue to email them and let them know about the new perk that's come out on a regular basis, right? Because you don't want to slam them when they don't want the information, but you have something so amazing that no other real estate agent has.
That's the nice thing about the platform is, yes, they're opted in. The websites definitely have the back-end Clever Leads business management system. So now you've got all of these folks that are opted in, taking advantage of these programs, and you stay top of mind. So you're absolutely right. Rhonda, so being proactive as a service member, right? A lot of folks on LinkedIn kind of hide a little bit. Maybe they're a little shy. So it's important for you to be engaged. Maybe they're not going to take the next step. Maybe you just keep fostering the relationship, right? So
you do. And one of the ways to do that, Jake, is posting. And here's the interesting thing, because I've seen you've been doing it, so you're a great student, is you don't necessarily have to be posting about your next listing, right? Nobody really cares. But what if you post something that's motivational, that's inspirational, that's going to make somebody smile, right? And then you tie it into what you're doing, right? So you can actually put something really cool. I know one of the ones I shared recently was that dinner in the sky, right? It was a little video of dinner in the sky, and you helped me with that. And you put a question out there that says something like, what's on your bucket list? And here's the very discreet way of potentially, inviting somebody to visit your website and say, hey, if you're looking for some really cool things to do and don't want to pay full price, visit. And then just give them the link, or say, check out the first comment. So in other words, you're taking something that's motivational, inspirational, but here's the real magic. You're going to look at the people that like and comment on that post and reshare it and reach out to them. So it might be, Nick, you might like the post, and I would send you a little video message that says, hey, Nick, thanks so much for liking my post about dinner in the sky. We've been connected for a while and never had a conversation. Love to jump on a call, learn more about what you're doing. I promise it's a no sales call. Here's a link to my calendar. 70% or better chance that you're going to jump on that call.
But now, wait a minute, Rhonda, that sounds like a lot of work,
right?
Oh,
no. Can you use something called Text Expander? Right.
So I'm not, I didn't want to go there. I was just saying in general, like, that turns social media instead of thinking about it in terms of social media, that turns social media into prospecting, right? That
Well,
one
maybe,
extra
but
that one extra step is now you're in conversation with somebody.
right.
So if you
Imagine
can,
you had 2 conversations a day.
yeah,
That's an hour a day. You do that 5 days a week, right? That's 40 people you're talking to a month. If you can't get 1 or 2 really great referrals out of that, you're not talking to the right, you're actually not having a very, conversation that's going to make much sense.
right.
Make sense?
So there is a right way and a wrong way to do a lot of things in life, it seems like. And it sounds to me like this LinkedIn strategy is a little bit of a dance, a little 2-step dance. So there's that extra level.
A little bit.
So many people just post and hope that somebody likes it. And then they get that.
That's like going to the gym once a month and hoping that you're going to get fit.
Okay.
Wait, that doesn't work?
It doesn't work. I've tried it.
So, okay. I'm going to reach out to all of the folks that do like my posts on LinkedIn, and we're going to have to report back in the future and see how that works. I did take your advice, Miss Rhonda, and I shared some an inspirational post last night, and it was about a veteran who was in a wheelchair, and his wife. They were an elderly couple, and they were out for a little bit of a walk. His wife was pushing him, and they saw a flag that was on the ground in front of somebody's house, and the couple came up and they picked up the flag and they folded it nicely and put it back, and it was amazing, right? So I went ahead and just shared that from somebody else's post. It was very inspirational, a tearjerker kind of a thing. A whole bunch of folks liked it, and then I started getting some messages from different people that I haven't been connected to in a while, and so this thing works.
It does. And then all you want to do, Jake, is just get on the phone with them for 20 or 30 minutes and just find out what's keeping them up at night, and see how you can be that resource that's going to solve the problem for them.
That might take more than 30 minutes if I ask that question.
The way that I phrase it is, hey, what's keeping you up at night? And I'm, snoring spouses, barking dogs, and screaming kids don't count. I can send you a bottle of Excedrin for that. But I like to be able to tap into my resources. How can I be a resource for you, and how can I help? And people will typically tell you what they need. And maybe they'll say, you know what? Oh gosh, I really need a new website, one that's good. And I'll say, oh my gosh, do you know Clever Leads? Do you know Jake? Let me make an introduction if you're a real estate agent. He's got the most amazing program, and he's got something that nobody else has called Plan Perks. And I just leave it to that and make the introduction.
Outstanding. Miss Rhonda, thank you so much for joining us today. Ladies and gentlemen that are listening to the show, if you want to up your game on LinkedIn, please get in touch with Miss Rhonda. She's going to help you get to that next level up. Rhonda, how can people get in touch with you?
They just need to go to The Sure Method, veryeasy.com, or find me on LinkedIn, Rhonda L. Sure. I'm almost at the 30,000 followers, but you can still connect with me.
There is a level and a ceiling that I think you might have to blow through over there. Call up the LinkedIn folks and say, hey, you just don't have enough room for me. So outstanding. Thank you, Miss Rhonda. Have a blessed rest of your day.
Thanks. Thank you, guys.
Outstanding. That was Rhonda Sure. I always love talking to her. Hey, Nick, do you feel that homes are affordable across this country?
No, definitely not.
What?
Definitely
What? I don't think, well, Elon Musk, I don't think thinks that these things are affordable either.
What is that guy not buying?
Elon Musk is, I don't know.
He's Iron Man, right?
Yeah, he is. He is the Iron Man. He's launching things into outer space, and he's got vehicles that we can purchase from him, and he's running the SpaceX program and the mining companies. And I saw him with flamethrowers, and now he's building trucks. And I heard that
Starlink, mobile communication, right?
Launching
solving big problems.
Yeah, launching all of these satellites into outer space consistently and continually, and expanding communications, lowering our footprints. But did you guys see that Elon just got into the home building space here not too long ago with a company that recently came out called Boxable?
Yeah.
I
think it's really smart.
Yeah. So these homes are starting, at $15,000, some of these. So,
and he's living in one, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
He's living in a house that costs $50,000.
Boy, talk about leading by example.
Yeah.
Nobody's perfect, but somebody with that kind of money that seems to really have their feet on the ground. They're still communicating with the public for the most part. And then of course the whole thing with the steel trailers you see from the tractor trailers. There already have been people making homes out of that and doing tiny houses, and it's really interesting to see that something that, in my opinion, a year or two or three ago was just this little movement that somebody who's with that notoriety and that wealth and that busyness somehow, some way saw that and went, "Oh, I think I see a solution there," and now he's involved. So I can see how this hit just by his presence and getting involved might start to put more weight and motivation behind this whole process expanding, and maybe it could lead to affordability for some people.
I see there's some news reports on the back channels right now that are talking about maybe we are overbuilding in America right now. And we obviously see the mainstream saying we have an inventory situation, but we also see that investors are holding a lot of homes vacant that we've discussed. There's just a big old perfect storm going on. And a lot of folks now are saying, hey, you know what? I'm going to let this craziness blow by me, and I'm going to get on the list to go ahead and purchase a tiny home or a small home that can get just brought out on the trailers, and it's all set up. Nick, what's your take on all of this?
So from a personal perspective, right? I think the majority of us after COVID said, hey, maybe it is a good idea to start looking outside the city and get some land and be self-sustainable. But how would I do that? Right. I got a huge family. This kind of fits into that bucket where, man, like I have teenagers in my house that have already said that they have no intention on moving. I also have younger kids. So like the idea that you could move somewhere with 5 acres, 10 acres, and literally have your whole family in a compound, like everybody living in tiny houses, it seems kind of attractive at this point, right? On top of that, so you have the first time home buyer segment who's getting priced out, who's getting outbid. But then you have, like, in my opinion, especially for this Tampa market, for Pinellas County, the elderly living 55 and up communities are very sparse, right? So you have two different generations. You have first time home buyers can't find a house. You have elderly people can't find a house. Like that, the tiny home would fit both of those um, categories, if you will, very well, right? Instead of mom having to live in an extra bedroom in your house, what if you just threw a tiny house in the backyard and mom's got her own apartment, right?
Oh, wait, this might be a perfect option for those kids that don't want to leave home.
Right.
You just shift them into the house
backyard.
in the backyard.
Yeah.
They leave home by 6 feet.
Yeah,
I'm
they grew,
leaving.
they
I'll be
grew
right
up in
there.
a tree house, playing in a tree house, and now you get the tiny house. That's your graduation.
That's fantastic. So these are legitimate homes, ladies and gentlemen. I'm seeing. So Tesla went ahead and linked up with Boxable, and that's got, it's spelled awkwardly, Boxabl, I think it is.
Yeah,
and
I think so.
they've been really working. These things all collapse, and they get put on trailers. They come out and get set. So
Yeah.
there
think for a minute investors are not going to be building tiny house communities, right? Just like it'll be like the new wave of trailer park, I feel like, right? Why not?
There could also too. I'm going to take a stand and say that like any new category that's probably destined to be large, there's going to be a little bit of a shakeup, because not to be negative, but you have to always predict, what could go wrong and prepare for that so we don't have it happen. But there might be certain zoning and permitting issues. There might be certain rules and regulations regarding material and where these things can and can't be, because right now it seems to have been very quietly done, and people will plop these
Yeah.
wherever it is appropriate. And Uncle Sam, as much, for all the taxes I pay him and the rest of you do, that ideally at some point they're probably going to step in to put at least some baseline regulation on there,
Yeah.
or the communities like our National Association of Realtors, for example, might create a certification for dealing with tiny houses or pop-up houses like this, just so that the agents hopefully are forced to take at least one course to hopefully have a baseline education, because there could be a lot of little variables. You can't just take an agent who's going to be an agent tomorrow, and he's never done anything, and if he goes to sell a boxable house, you would want him to have at least some knowledge or some understanding of how these things work. So we know the good and the bad, the do's and don'ts, the concerns. So I'm hoping at least there's our real estate community has at least a certification to get the baseline education. The government's probably going to highlight, problems. Hopefully they're going to see issues and say, hey guys, wait a minute. Well, excuse me. When you build these, there's got to be certain parameters. Right now, it's a bit of a little bit of a Wild West, a little bit of a golden age. I think overall, it's a great idea. I think it's a great affordable idea. I see all the benefits, but hopefully there's going to be, a coming to Jesus, so to speak, where they're going to say, listen, we have to do it this way because it's the safer path.
Well, I definitely know he's created a more affordable way to go ahead and establish a home. These boxable houses, they're manufactured. So they're in this manufactured type category. And you would still have to go ahead and get all of your zoning done, your permits and everything else. But Nick, I don't see this being much different than a manufactured home type component.
No.
They're just bringing in affordable solutions.
It's trendy. It's trendier, right?
Yeah.
It's more attractive to say a box home because it fits in the sustainable category, where manufactured home doesn't have that stigma to it, right? So for the younger generation, it's much more attractive. There are some legacy zoning things, but I think for, like Tony was bringing up, educating yourself. Don't wait for National Association of Realtors to tell you have to take a course, right? You're listening to the show to be on top of news that's coming out. We're trying to bring you these type of topics so that you can go. Maybe you go to boxable.com after you stop listening to us today and find out more about it yourself so that you can have good conversations with people, and then maybe find out what are the zoning laws in your area and where they can or cannot go.
Outstanding. Good deal. Thank you, gentlemen. I appreciate you. Ladies and gentlemen, we talked last time about the homeowners associations now trying to stop investors from coming into their communities, purchasing homes, inflating the marketplaces, and possibly moving in renters and things like that. Well, the city of Cincinnati actually just got into the game, hedging all of these different investors from purchasing homes. And they just went ahead and bought 200 homes. The city itself bought 200 homes. We're going to bring in Mr. Tim Parnell and Nick and Tony back here to the stage, and we're going to talk about this phenomenon. Gentlemen, we have a clip here from last show, and I want to go ahead and play a little bit of it and then bring in this report from Cincinnati, just so everybody's kind of in the know on this final segment here.
Welcome back, everyone. We're back with a look at what's been happening with institutional investors who have been buying up single-family homes and pricing out a lot of first-time home buyers. Let's bring back in Alexis Keenan here with more on that. Alexis?
Okay, yes, these HOAs, the homeowners associations across the country, this is a report coming from the Wall Street Journal. They say that they're increasingly trying to block institutional investors from buying up specifically single family homes. And the way that they're doing that is through amendments in the HOA documents to say that renters will be blocked in some fashion. Think about things like caps on the number of renters that can.
All right. So HOAs took a stand. That was one of the reports from our previous show. But here's how Cincinnati is buying homes in bulk right now. So this was an April 19th post, gentlemen. Cincinnati, Ohio, when almost 200 single-family homes came on the market this year, Cincinnati Port Authority made a bold move. It outbid 12 large real estate investors and became a landlord. It was Cincinnati's counterattack to skyrocketing housing and rental costs, which is blamed in part on the big investment funds. And it looks like they beat them back. Pretty amazing. They're trying to solve high housing costs. And Cincinnati just went ahead and took a stand here. Gentlemen, I think we have an issue if HOAs and now actual port authorities are taking a stand to go ahead and stop this. What's going on?
Well, to me, I think what you've got is a unintended consequences of the American real estate market being free and open to anybody to buy, and that includes foreign investors as well, right? So at the time that market was established, nobody could have ever imagined where we're at right now, where there'd be this almost leviathan aspect of investment companies just buying swaths of real estate and frankly keeping it vacant in some cases.
Yeah.
And keeping the people from having access. My understanding was it 18% of all vacant homes are owned by these big real estate investment corporations because they're just squatting on it to squeeze the market so they can jack up the home valuation to sell it. I mean, again, I do believe that this is just a series of unintended consequences. We're living through it, and I applaud Cincinnati for trying to get creative and trying to head it off at some point. And I'm sure there's got to be some kind of regulation that's going to take place in the future. We'll see.
Thank you, Tim. Tony, what's your big take on this for a final quick takeaway?
Sure. I think the shortest answer is I think it sets a very nice, very kind precedence for the future when they form these community land trusts, where it's a nonprofit, where not the city themselves are snapping it up. They're usually forming a nonprofit. So when they buy these up, the new owners usually have to have something in writing where they promise to sell it to another like-kind, financially capable people. This way, the city, like Cincinnati, is clearly, from what I'm reading, is being really aware, being sensitive to their community and what's going on with these non-local investors who just usually buy a house, jack up the rent, and that does affect the citizens. So I think we're seeing the beginning of something where Cincinnati did it first. Maybe Los Angeles won't be too far behind and try to follow that model. But at the end of the day, it is capitalism. But I do like the idea about that community land trust. And sometimes there's independent people or politicians and certain people in City Hall forming the nonprofits, which, the records are supposed to be accessible to a certain degree. So I think it's harder for them to secretly be a landlord and say, haha, we changed our mind. So I like where they're going. I read the detail, and I definitely, as a real estate agent and as a person, appreciate what they're doing. Finally, there's another heavy hitter in the game. It used to be all those, wealthy non-local companies. So I like what I see so far.
Tony, how can people get in touch with you if they need representation in Los Angeles?
No problem. Anywhere in Los Angeles and Orange County, I'm happy to help. My number is 949-633-6741, or they can just go to my website and messenger me or call or email there at tonybarbarino.com. And that's pretty much it.
Thank you, Mr. Tony. We appreciate you. Nick, that was a lot of news here in a 1 hour segment. And we try to keep it condensed so people can get on with their day. But the highlights are, we could be doing better on LinkedIn. Cincinnati's taking a stand. We obviously are now seeing the Rocket Man himself go ahead and get into affordable housing and creating solutions. It looks like a lot of people are working hard. Mr. Tim Parnell said that we can be our own bank and really make a lot more money. We also learned how to save money on things that we're already doing. So what are your final takeaways from the show?
Yeah, I hope everybody took notes. I do like the last segment with Cincinnati. We talk about real estate being micro markets, right? And so the idea that institutional investors on a national scale have just as much power as a local port authority in their own market, right? So being able to recapture that for the people that live there is really cool. But I think also the idea that Elon Musk and what he's doing, like, he sees that writing on the wall. He probably saw that 5-10 years ago, where all these institutions are buying up all these properties and pricing people out. So I think it's a lot of good stuff. I think for all the real estate agents that are listening, take this information and use it to your advantage to talk to your people, right? The people that are in your database in your sphere don't know that institutions are buying 200 houses at a time. When a frustrated buyer is coming to you and like, how come I'm missing out on this deal? The more knowledge you have, the more that you can bring to the table. And for instance, things like that, being able to talk educatedly about, small houses or manufactured houses, it just adds tools to your tool belt. So we're working really hard. Jake's working really hard. I'm working really hard to bring you guys as many valuable topics as possible. And I hope everybody likes it.
Nick, what's this thing at RU Nation, and why should people come over and hang out?
Yeah, I think if anybody likes what we're putting down, there's a lot of other shows on there that you would probably like as well. And if you'd like to get in touch with either me or Jake, our bios are on there. You can drop us a line. And also, if you are in real estate or mortgage and you feel like you have a topic that you think would be really good for the show, we'd love to have you on. So drop us a line and see if we can get you on.
Go to reunation.com, reunation.com. Fill out your information too on the contact form at Real Estate America News, because we actually communicate with all of you guys. We like sending out some of our post-show notes and things for you to review, and we get engaged. Yeah. Fantastic. Thank you very much, Nick, for joining me today and co-hosting the news. We appreciate you. And
yes, sir.
We'll see you next Tuesday.
See you Tuesday.
At high noon. All right, ladies and gentlemen, it's been a powerful week. A lot of things have been happening, and stay tuned, because we're going to keep bringing you and cutting through all of these conversations and trying to go ahead and get our opinion on what to do next, or what is going on and what we're dealing with. So from all of us here at Real Estate America News and the RU Nation family, we wish each and every single one of you a blessed, powerful, and unstoppable day. Tune in every Tuesday and Thursday on YouTube and Facebook right now, and some of the other places that we stream. We're engaged. Get in touch with us. Have a blessed rest of your day, ladies and gentlemen.